and welcome to the Ink Archive. My name is Briar, and today I am joined with Brandon as we watch one of our local games here at House Rules. And Brandon, tell us what we got going on in this match.
All right, so here on the left, we have Kat, who's going to be playing Amber Emerald, and it's a bit of a twist on a Mufasa list. Got some interesting cards in here, obviously a bunch of characters and nothing else. And her opponent is Glenn, who is going to be on the right, and he's running an Amber Steel list. It looks a little bit like a traditional Amber Steel list we have going around right now. Not the Diggy variant, but more of the song-heavy one. And interesting, it has 2 Sleepy's Flutes in it. So it's going to be interesting to see that card be brought back and see how it faces off against this little aggro-y Mufasa list we have going on.
Yeah, no, that's definitely an interesting tech seeing in the Amber Steel decks here. It used to be a very popular card when it came out, and then it kind of took a small dive, and no one really played it for a little bit, and then it came back, and it usually comes back when you see new sets being released, because players want to test out this card, and I know that's what he was doing, is testing out this card, and he seemed to really enjoy it. From his other games here and talking to him. It was really cool. And I'm a big fan of Steel Song. Flutes is one of my favorite cards in the list, and I've always been wanting to find a way to put Flutes back into Steel Song. And he's done it here, and I'm curious to see how this is going to turn out against this Mufasa Churna Dogs type of deck here.
Yeah, and he was able to keep the uninkable count down to about 16 with the Sleepy's Flutes, and same with you. Anytime I'm playing against Amber Steels, I typically play other color pairings. Anytime a flute comes down, it's a threat. I typically play Ruby Amethyst or similar decks. Don't have a lot of item hate available to the decks I play, so that comes down, and any song, that's a lore. I can't deal with it, and they're gonna be singing songs, so it can put a lot of pressure on.
Yeah, no, it definitely can put a lot of pressure on it, and it can take away games pretty quickly here. And now we see Glenn here going ahead and inking our Rhino, the 1 cost, and playing this Cinderella so that he can sing some songs next turn and hopefully keep control of the board. And we see Kat not really playing anything besides just inking 1 card and passing, which is kind of rough for an aggro deck. You usually want to see at least a 1-drop of some sort.
Looking at her list, it does look like she's only running 8 1-drops. So I guess she's definitely trying to plan for the pretty mid-range profile here, where maybe, yes, it's not the end of the world if she misses the 1. But, oh man, Glenn here having 2 Cindy's on board already. That is dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, 2 Cindy's to sing these 2 songs to basically banish anything that's on the opponent's board. And then we have this Rhino that can potentially shift into the bigger Rhino, which is really a brand new card that's fantastic. It's a really strong card that gives it basically has resist 2 while he doesn't have damage, and he has 4 strength and 3 willpower. And here we go. We do see him shift into that Rhino, and this is a powerhouse of a card, and it's going to be very hard to deal with. And we get to quest here, going up to 5 on our turn 3. And this is, we're getting a little rough here for Kat.
Yeah, and it looks like Glenn is holding a whole new world there, and 1 other card. Did you catch what it was?
I did not catch what it is, but you know, I'm starting to see this lady come down, and having a bodyguard just to come down and play after this lady. And this lady is really cool. It's one of the new cards that came out in the Reign of Jafar set, which when you play her, you get to play a 2-cost or less character for free. And then now we get to see Cindy singing Storm to knock out that lady. Didn't get to stay around for too long.
And a Robin Hood. So it looks like we don't have the shift yet. I think he's got 1 card remaining in his hand. It's a whole new world, so no way to sing it yet. But with this board state, the only thing is 1 more ink. He can even hard cast it. I think he'd be okay doing that.
Yeah, no, I mean, he can hard cast and it should be fine. I mean, we can see in Kat's hand here that we have a Piglet, we've got a Chernabog Rapunzel, the Emerald Rapunzel, actually, and the Amber one. We get a Baloo, Mufasa. I mean, we have some pretty high-cost cards, nothing really low besides this Piglet. And it looks like that might be what she has to play here. Is just going to play this Piglet, put it down, and hope that it doesn't get knocked out and she can play some more characters next turn.
Think see, I mean, honestly, if I was Glenn, yeah, I would play it. Okay, I was gonna say, like, she's holding a bunch of cards over there. It's pretty easy to just have her pitch all those away. He gets a massive benefit. Sure, he doesn't get to play anything else this turn, but you know, that's a bunch of threats away there, especially card draw with Rapunzel, the Mufasa, which, you know, this deck is based around. Glenn's in a very, very strong position at this point.
Yeah, I mean, even if he doesn't get to hardcast or play any songs here or any actions, any characters, it doesn't quite matter because exactly he can sing songs just like what he did here with playing the Storm, singing it with the Cinderella to knock out this Piglet. And he can quest with all of his characters because he has a very big board state here with a Rhino, another Cindy, and a Robin Hood, and hopefully potentially shifting into the big Robin Hood here. And it looks like he does have it in his hand, so he can shift it this turn or next turn and then have some big characters on board that it's going to be very hard to deal with.
I'll see the flute sitting in there, so it looks like we're going to get to see it in action here shortly.
Oh, we get to see a flute. But it looks like that we do get to see Cat with actually some pretty decent cards here. We got a lady here that can play another card from her hand. We also have a Chernabog that can come down because there's a lot of these characters that are going to be banished here and be in the discard, so you can play that card for cheaper. And it looks like we get to play 4 characters now. So we got a lady, we have Jim, Bodyguard Jim, we got a Daisy, and a Nala here. So now we can finally start getting into a wider board state here for Cat, which puts her in a little bit of a better space. It's just not able to take care of any of the opposing characters.
Yeah, and just like that, as we see with a lot of Amber lists, you think they're out, and all of a sudden they got a board. They like to go wide, and they say, okay, deal with my stuff. You know, of course, Amber Steel has a bunch of ways to deal with an opponent's board. You get the flute down, you start singing some songs of removal. You got the Robin Hood here, which I assume is coming down. Yep, right there. Get some lore, take out that, I think it's a bodyguard, correct?
Yes, so the Jim Deere is a bodyguard. He's a 2-cost inkable bodyguard. That is a 0/4. I don't know why she plays it exerted. You don't have to play that exerted. I think it's good to kind of keep it upright so that when you do get to quest with your other characters, I think keeping that character up actually might be a better option here and not exerting it. But we do get to see this Rhino challenge into that Gem here and knocking it out and banishing it. So it didn't get to stick around for too long, and now she has to kind of play around that and hoping that her characters don't get banished and challenging next turn. But here we get to see a lot of the characters questing here. We get to see Robin to quest. Cinderella gets to sing a song, playing strength, knocking out that Daisy, and then getting the flute to gain a lure because we played a song this turn, which is great.
Yeah,
we just keep questing with this board. Wow.
Yep. No reason not to, right? I mean, you have the state. You lose your Cindy's at this point. Who cares? You have other characters that can sing pretty much anything you need to for Robin Hood to deal with it. And sifting through the discard, looking to see if she has any answers. Don't think she's going to find any in the state of the game.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's a lot of answers she can do because, I mean, he has a board that pretty much gets a quest for 6, and that gets him to the game next turn. In fact, he actually gets a quest for 7 here on the field currently. Plus, he gets to have the flute, so he could potentially gain 8. So she needs to knock out a lot of the characters here. And knocking out, I mean, the Cindy's, the Rhino, and this Robin Hood on the field is going to be a lot of work when you only have this Nala, which is a 0/4, and you get to have this lady who's a 2/2. But we do get to see a Chernabog here come down. And then we get to play a Baloo and a Nala and hoping that we can do anything. And it turns out there's not much you can do, and then we're just going to go on ahead and go into game 2.
Yeah, especially with this version of the color pairing Amber Emerald, there isn't a lot of interaction that's going on. You have a bunch of characters that like to quest, like to do some things. Rapunzel has potential to slow them down, but it's on quest. It's a bit slow to come out, so even if she had it in hand, it wouldn't have helped her there, unfortunately. This is one of the limitations of playing like either mid-range or aggro, like turn stuff sideways decks. I like to have some form of interaction in the decks that I play, or if I'm playing a deck that doesn't have a lot of opponent interaction, it wants to go turbo mode. We wanna get the game fast. I think that especially against Amber Steel here, you know, as soon as Amber Steel's set up, it's going to be really hard to build a board to be able to do that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be, it's definitely a hard thing to play against here. And going first now is going to be really good for her, where she can now find those 1-drops, those 1-cost daisies, and the Nalas to kind of put at least something on the board that can help her quest and get closer to winning the game. And then being able to play some of those 2-cost cards, because she does have a Piglet in Jim Deere. And hopefully Piglet gets to set up quicker for her to quest for more, and then Jim Deere kind of just to protect us some of those characters. So we kind of hope that's what she goes for. I mean, she has some ways to get some answers, but they're just all a little bit in the later of the game, and it's not quite something she needs early on. And we get, of course, we have Glenn that's just going to do the same thing, look for the same things that he's got, because, I mean, he opened up really well and was just able to answer anything that Cat was able to put down. So there's not much he's going to be changing for what he's looking for here in this next game.
Yeah, I think one of the strengths that the Amber Emerald deck has is it's got a lot of 4 willpower characters, and that's resilient against the songs that Steel Song is slinging, especially early in the game. So she's got the Nala and the Daisy. They both have 4 willpower. Of course, the Daisy being stronger, questing for 2. And against Amber Steel, her downside of, you know, potentially giving a character to the hand of the opponent doesn't hit as often in this color pairing. It's like almost half the deck is not going to hit. So she can get that Daisy down. It's going to be pretty resilient against the early play. She can get some early lore.
Yeah, that's definitely what she would want to do here, is try to get those daisies down. And it looked like she had 2 in her hand, so she'll be able to put those down and keep them. However, there is a card that did come out this new set here in Reign of Jafar that kind of helps answers Daisy really quickly, where it used to not be, where the songs were kind of hard. It took a while to answer those daisies. But now we get to have this Rhino, which gets a shift on turn 2, and it has 4 willpower, and it takes no damage back while it has no damage because it has that resist 2. So it can answer that Daisy pretty quickly. So she needs to watch out for that Rhino when she does get to play the Daisy. I think he does have the 1-cost Rhino in hand. If not, I do see the Robin Hood and the Cindy's. So he does kind of have a way to go around. But, of course, Cat here playing that Daisy and hoping to get those questing and getting that lure from her.
Yeah, it's kind of either way she opens, it can be bad depending on what Glenn has in his hand. You know, from her perspective, she can play the Daisy. That's resilient against the songs. And we see the Cindy come out. So now she's going to be okay for at least one more turn. She probably has at least 1 safe quest here, probably 2. Versus had he been able to get the 1-drop Rhino down, then the Daisy could have been exposed and been taken out in the following turn. But right now, with 4 willpower characters, this is a very smart and strong play by Cat.
Yeah, no, having these characters now, having double Daisy and having this Nala, which does have that big willpower, and being able to stay around a little bit longer is really good here. And we're seeing that that Glenn here is inking the big Rhino here, our Shift Rhino. I was thinking it was the 1-cost Rhino, but it is not. It is the Shift one. And he inks it to play this Robin Hood. So he can go on ahead and play the big Robin Hood and shifting it and hopefully knocking out some stuff, being able to sing some songs with the aerial to kind of chip away some damage so Robin Hood can clean them up and banish them so that he can gain the lure from the Robin Hood's ability. and we see him thinking kind of what to do here, because we do see in Glenn's hand, we do have 2 aerials, a Shmi, and he does have the shift Robin Hood, so that he can shift it in the following turn here. I know he has one other card in hand. I can't quite see what it is. I think it's Whole New World. So he has a way to Whole New World if he needs to, has some outs to get some more cards. And we see in Kat's hand, we have a Lady, a Jim, and a Baloo. So she can play some bodyguards here to protect some of her characters, which is good. And she just drew a Mufasa. So this could be really good here, is playing this Mufasa. But we do see it inked. And we are going to be seeing a Lady coming down and then getting to play this Jim, making it bodyguard. And now she can quest out safely and having these daisies quest and gain her a bunch of lore.
And you can see there, as I was saying, about a 50-50. One of those was a character, one of them was a song. And that song he really would like to see. He went right to the bottom, unfortunately. Now, one of the things that Kat did here that's really great play and really showing the strength of this Lady, for 3, she gets 5 resources, 5 ink worth of characters on the board, and particularly a bodyguard coming down. Of course, you have the Robin Hood there. It's a threat. She doesn't know whether or not he has the shift in hand. He does, and it's probably the right play to get it down. But with playing that bodyguard and another 4 willpower character, 4 willpower is such a break point in this game, especially currently. You know, there's a lot of characters that can hit for 3 and punch through. But once you get to that 4th willpower, that can really stop your opponent from being able to take that character out in one swing. Now, of course, he is going to use both his characters to do this, but now that Cindy is exposed, and a smart play would be to get rid of that Cindy. I think if she can do that, either swinging in with trading in with the Lady, or using the daisies, which, believe it or not, everyone likes to just quest with them, but that 1/4, it's a good bonking stick.
Yeah, no, it's definitely can challenge into things really nicely. But what's really cool is that she gets to play this Baloo here, because she did have another bodyguard in hand, so it kind of gets to protect things. And when that Baloo does get knocked out or banished, you get to gain 2 lore off him, which can help get her closer to the end of the game. And she's sitting currently at 14 lore here, so she can gain a bunch of lore. And Glenn's got to figure out how to get around that and basically clear the board as quick as he can. And it looks like we do get to see a couple cards here. We do get to see the aerial in his hand, and it looks like he does have the strength of a Raging Fire here in his hand, so he can sing it with that Cinderella, and then having this Robin Hood take out another character if need to. So he has a couple of the answers to kind of at least slow Kat down a little bit, but it's going to take some time, and we'll see what this aerial is going to grab, because it looks like he's going to be playing this aerial, and he does. And we get to look at this top 4 cards here and seeing if we can find a good song. And we find Zeus.
Did find another song.
And we get to find Storm.
Zeus is strong here.
Yeah, Zeus could be really good. But I don't think Zeus is an option here.
Or do you take the Zeus?
No, he took the Storm. I think the Zeus, because you can't really do anything with the Zeus right yet, because you have to sing it with the Robin Hood. And Robin Hood's better challenging at this moment, because everything has that, besides the Baloo and the Lady are 2 of the big things to kind of answer. But it looks like we're just going to go on ahead and go to game 3. Can't really answer the rest of it.
Yeah. I think I would have taken the Zeus personally, because you could sing that Zeus with the Robin Hood. And yes, you miss out on the 2 lore from him, but you have a strength and then a Zeus that does take out 2 characters. It banishes them, puts them away. I don't know if that was enough to stave off defeat there the next turn, though. Especially because, do you know how much lore she was sitting at?
She was sitting at 14. Yeah, she was at 14, so she needed, she had 2 daisies, the Nala, and then the Lady, which also quested for 2. So she had 7, 8, plus the Baloo gaining the 2 if it gets banished. So she had enough to go for game. However, he also had like strength in his hand, so he could have had the Cinderella sing strength, knocking out one of the characters, knocking out like Baloo, or knocking out one of the daisies, because he did have 4 characters on board, so he could knocked out one of those, and then had the Robin Hood challenge into something else, and then gains 2 lore, knocking it out, and then making the opponent not really gain as much lore. So there was that option. It still would have put a close call to it. I don't know if it would have completely answered it, but it might have slowed it down a little bit here. But we do get to see, of course, now Glenn gets to go first, which is kind of what he wants to do here, trying to get some of those characters out before Cat does, and so he can kind of control the board with those Cinderellas and all those songs.
Looks like he's trying to keep the Zeus and the Rhino, which is... Oh, you're putting those back, I see. So he only kept... I didn't catch what he was keeping. I had it backwards from what he was holding.
Yeah, no, I was thinking he was keeping what he would put back, but no, he put it back too.
Yeah, right.
So I don't even remember what he put
Rhino,
down.
The Zeus.
I know, I was like, this is okay.
At least both
It's
of
got
us
some
are thinking the
decent
same way here.
Yeah, no, he had some decent stuff, but I don't remember what the other 2 cards were. So now I gotta look back and see what those 2 cards are. See what when he shows his hand here when we get to look at it. See what those 2 cards you got to keep. Okay, he kept a Rhino and a Cinderella. Okay, so he kept, and then he's got another Cinderella, 1-drop, and the Shift Robin Hood and Ursula, and a Grab Your Swords. So this actually could be a really good kind of option here to help keep things under control with the Robin Hood, and then being able to also drop down some Cindy's is really nice here. And we're just going to ink a Cindy, play a Cindy, and seeing where we can go from here.
Yeah, so I think the next play here is get that Robin Hood, and then he's got the 1-drop Rhino in there as well. I just drop both those down next turn. You don't know which one he can shift into. Of course, we see that he has the Robin Hood, so that's obviously the one. See if he goes for it here.
I don't think he had the 1-drop Rhino. I think he only has the 4-drop.
No? Okay.
He has the Robin Hood, however. It's debating between Robin Hood or Shmi here, which can be really good, whichever option. But I think this Robin Hood could be pretty devastating here because it's a 5-cost character that can shift. It can sing some of the songs, like singing this Grab Your Swords in his hand. It can also challenge into anything is really good. Oh, yeah. Definitely knowing your matchup is really good with this Robin Hood, and knowing what route to take here is either playing that Shmi or that Robin Hood.
Yeah, playing against a fast deck, you're going to want to control the board with your songs. Playing against something, a little slower, a little more the pace, like that's where you'd want to get the Shmi down and start getting some early lore. Getting another character off of the Daisy is strong here too.
It is, and it looks like we have we have 2 Shift Robin Hoods, an Ursula, a Shmi, and a Grab Your Sword. So he could put some damage here on the board and kind of help control some things, or he can kind of set up for some rounds. But it looks like we're just going to go on ahead and shift that Robin Hood so that he can go on ahead and try to take out the Daisy, sending that Cinderella in first, and then having the Robin Hood challenge into it to gain the extra lore from his effect. It looks like we
are they going to catch the damage here?
There we go. There it is. I was about to say he's put it on there.
Like we've all been there. We're playing and we know it's there, and we just forget to mark it.
Oh yes, and of course we see one of the best turn 3 plays in the Amber deck, and that is playing Lady, and then getting playing a 2-drop, which has Bodyguard, and that is Jim Deere. And we get to see Kat play that, and I think she's done Jim Deere, I think, every time that she's played Lady at this point, which is crazy. She only plays 4 ladies, 8 2-drops? She only's playing Piglet and the Jim Deere here as her 2-drops. And of course, having that Bodyguard's great. And we see Cindy singing Let the Storm Rage On to put the 2 damage on that Jim Deere to make it easier for this Robin Hood to banish and knock out, which is good. And so he gains some lore, and he can take out some of the other characters with some of those other characters that he's been drawing off those Daisy effects.
That is a strong play right here. See, this is one of the strengths of Rhino. Not only is he an extremely efficient shift, playing him on 4 is still really strong. Right now, he can cleanly deal with Cat's board. So let's see how he handles this next turn.
Yeah, no, Rhino is one of the, I think one of the best cards that came out in Reign of Jafar. I mean, I know we talked a little bit about some of the cool cards that came out in the set in our highlights video. But Rhino is, I think, is one of my personal favorites. I kind of threw him under the radar for a little while, and then after seeing him the first week of the set coming out, I realized how powerful Rhino is, and he is a force to face with. I mean, he's got a giant hamster ball. I mean, what are you supposed to do with this giant hamster ball? It's coming at you. It's rolling over. It has that strength to just roll over anything.
Yeah, and I think if you guys watched our video on the cards, we definitely talked about how, like Briar is saying, is everyone kind of slept on him a little bit, and then the more we looked at him and the more we were talking about him, we're just like, you know what, this card is strong. And then we played with him and against him, and he is strong, right? You know, he delivers a lot of what Amber Steel wants at this slot in the deck, whether or not on 2 or on 4. It's a great card. A lot of times with the Floodborns, the shifts, they're sometimes a bit overcosted if you're playing them on curve versus playing them on the shift. That's one of the reasons why, right? Like, that's how you balance that out, is you have a card that would otherwise be too strong, but you have the downside of, if you have to play it when it's normally there, like you're overpaying for that flexibility. But then you have cards like Rhino that don't fall into that category. Great on 4, excellent on 2.
Yeah, Rhino is just a great all-around statted card that has great cost, great willpower, great strength, great lore, and even being able to shift for 2 is phenomenal. I'm glad he's inkable. I'll say that. It makes this Amber Steel song deck just not worry about the uninkable count, because you can stick focus on those songs, because a lot of your songs are uninkable, like your Zeus, Whole New World, Storm. All of those are uninkable, and having a lot of uninkables in the Amber Steel song deck is kind of rough, and having those cards kind of just take up a lot of spots, so you can't play any of like other like cool tech options. So you have to be kind of resourceful with what you have to do to build it, and this Rhino just opens up that spot. It makes the deck better than what it is. It helps answer against the aggro decks. It also helps answer the mirror matches and things like that, and it's great.
Great. Now we see Chernobog come down, and you know, sometimes Chernobog unfortunately comes out a little bit too late, but this might be early enough where it could start hitting back and start. This is the answer that she needed, right? She needs something to deal with this Robin Hood, something to deal with the Ariel when she, you know, after she sings. So this is a closer game now than we saw in the game 1. So we'll see if she can use this tempo swing here to get back in the game.
Yeah, this Chernobog is definitely an answer that she needed here. This answers a lot of things on the board. It helps answers the Robin Hood. It helps answers the Rhino. It's a 9 strength, 9 willpower body that comes down and just knocks out everything. It's a force to be reckoned with, and it can help bring her back from where she was at and help control this board that Glenn's been building. Of course, we also have this Tramp here, and that's also a good quester, and it has some good willpower as well, so it can kind of withstand some of these attacks from Rhino and from the Robin Hood.
Okay, so we go for the grab your swords. So we're going to get the Tramp up to 3. Everyone else is going to have 2 on them. Gives him some options here to deal with the threats. Do you see what other songs he does or doesn't have in his hand? I think we know he still has the Whole New World on tap.
Yeah, I'm not for sure exactly which songs, but I know he has a Whole New World in hand, at least one of them, because he just grabbed one. He might have 2, but I'm pretty sure he has at least a minimum of 1. And of course, we see the Robin Hood here attacking into some characters and having the Rhino attack into the other. And we see, of course, the damage that went onto Robin Hood that from attacking that tramp has now been healed by the Rapunzel with her healing powers and being able to draw some more cards as well. So now that Whole New World might not be as useful quite yet. But, of course, Amber still has a way to just empty out their hand after they draw a Whole New World so they can play another one and empty out their hand again.
I think the play here is probably to get rid of that Robin Hood, but of course that helps Glenn still with that draw. She doesn't have any other answers other than challenging into the Robin Hood. So if she wants to take out the Robin Hood, she is, allowing Glenn to replace it.
Yeah, this kind of state that Glenn's at here, and I think the only card that Kat has in her hand is a Chernobog, is another Chernobog. So can't really play it because there's only 2 characters in the discard. Can't really make it cheaper, and she only has 4 ink. So it's kind of been rough to play that and kind of control anything. And we see the Chernobog here challenging into that Robin Hood and taking it out. And now we just deal with this Rhino here on the board that she has to deal with next.
I missed. Oh, there is the damage. I lost it in the camera feed. So the Chernobog's got 5 damage on him.
Yeah.
So the Rhino can clean up. And then Cat's bound on the back foot again, unfortunately. The Chernobog was a great answer, but this is just where you really see the strength of Amber Steel, is that they have options on options. Especially if they get to go first, if they win the die roll, you have the power, right? You as long as your cards don't brick, which is always a gamble with Amber Steel, you can really, really just dictate the pace of the game. The opponent plays characters, you'll use your songs to take care of them. You're playing against a slower deck, you can play the aggro game plan. You really have the option to play either. One of its biggest strengths since set 1, honestly.
Yeah, Amber Steel Song has definitely had a big way to be versatile in what it needs to do, is either be aggressive or kind of be a little more controlling and kind of keep the board under control so that they can clear it out and then quest for a closer game at the end. It's a very versatile deck, and it's one of my favorites for that reason, because it can do either thing that it wants to do, and it does it well both ways. So now we get to see Glenn here, of course, playing this flute that we love so much, and then getting to sing the Grab Your Sword to knock out this lady and put some damage on the Nala, and having one of his characters knock out that Nala. And using flute, of course, gaining some lore here. And I think we're at a state here where I think Glenn's kind of in the winning position here, unless if there's some ways for Kat to play some cards, but it looks like she has 2 Chernobogs in hands, and this is where she reveals it, and I think this is it. And it is.
So 2 whole new worlds sitting there.
Yeah,
Look at
2
that.
whole new worlds. Wow. It's crazy. Yeah, no, this is definitely a very interesting game. It's fun to see these 2 decks play off against each other and seeing what the decks can do. And of course, oh man, we've seen the Whole New World, just being able to grab cards is great. Seeing just grabbing all the cool stuff.
I think this is an interesting matchup that, you watch this, you see the way this game played out, and you think, well, this is like very heavy-handed in Amber Steel's favor. But that's not necessarily the case. As we saw in Game 2, Amber Emerald can really put on the heat, and they can quest for a lot very fast and have some resilient characters. This would be an interesting matchup to see the other way on the die roll. Is this something that the Amber Steel has an ability to turn the corner and get an advantage to get back on the front foot there? Or is it one where this could be a very die roll dependent matchup? My gut tells me that out of the 2 decks, Amber Steel has the best chance on the draw, but curious what you think.
I think that Rhino is really... I don't think it gives it a chance. I think the Rhinos, no matter if you're going first or if you're going second, I think that Rhino alone can determine how this match goes. The quicker you see Rhino, the quicker you win with Amber Steel. I mean, you saw that we had what? You had the Cinderella, you had Robin Hood come out, and that kind of helped control things. But it took 2 characters to knock out one of Cat's characters, and that's not what you really want to do in this deck. You want to either play your songs to either knock out one character, or you have a character that challenges into something and trades with it, or survives from challenging into the character and doesn't take any damage back. And that Rhino fits that spot, and it just answers the Amber Emerald deck really, really well. So I don't even think it really matters here. I think Amber Steel is definitely in the favor of winning this match as long as you see Rhino. If you don't see Rhino, I think the game's over. I think Amber, the Emerald variant, definitely can take the game a lot quicker.
Yeah. Now, the card unfortunately we didn't get to see played was the Rapunzel, right? That's one of those interesting spice cards here in the Amber Emerald deck. And I think, unfortunately, like, there's a deck with this idea in mind. I just don't know if we're going to see it yet until rotation. I think, well, maybe, right? So we're going to have a slower format. The ability to turn off questing is going to be interesting, right? We've seen it before, and it was strong in set 1. There were a variety of Emerald decks that were playing the John Silver, I believe, that would do that on play, or give someone Reckless, so kind of the same idea. Now, I'm curious how many of the cards that have a similar effect are rotating out. I know we've gotten them occasionally, so it's interesting if she'll have a home afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I think even we saw her a couple times, but she was sent to the Inkwell, and I think this card is actually really good. I mean, it being a 2 strength, 5 willpower character, and questing for 2, and having evasive is really nice. So those Rhinos are definitely not going to be able to challenge into it. Nothing can really trade into it unless if they're evasive. So Glenn would have to look for a Zeus or strength to knock out that character. So it could have been very much of a pain character to play. Sadly, we didn't get to see it being played, but it's definitely a very strong character, and would have liked to have seen it being played in this matchup. And hopefully we get to see more of that character in the future being played.
Yeah, I agree. I think she's a pretty fairly costed character. I would have loved to see the effect be an on-play. On-plays always have just so much more value, in my opinion. Anytime it says on quest, it has to survive a turn. And there's a good chance it gets banished before that, especially against a deck that has something like Zeus. Now, granted, Zeus may rotate out, and if we don't have a similar targeted removal to Zeus, you actually have a lot of characters that regain some playability, or maybe they're on the fringe, but they were a risk to play. Then they start to be less of a risk. 2/5 with evasive, that's a risk if your opponent might have Zeus, because, if it doesn't get to do anything, you spend all those resources, especially in a deck that you're not often inking above 5. But without the Zeus, safe play, get her out there. Probably not a lot your opponent's going to be able to do before you get to do something with her. And then those on quests become a lot more safe to play. Still slow, still would have loved to see it be an on play, but I think if she was on play, probably would have been an uninkable at 5 cost or a 6 inkable. And neither of those scenarios is what you really want to be when you're trying to fit this into some Emerald decks. Emerald already struggles with the uninkable count.
Yeah, definitely. And let us know what you guys think of this card, this Rapunzel here, and what you guys think, and what cards do you think are pretty cool in these colors, and what you guys think about this match. And while you're down there, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And until the next time, we will see you later. Goodbye.